Welcome to the Let Me Be Free podcast. My name is Jackie.
And my name is Alwynn.
We're two sisters from Ireland living in Australia, navigating our healing journeys together, and this is our podcast, Let Me Be Free.
Hi everyone. Welcome back to the Let Me Be Free podcast. This morning, Jackie's given me the charge of doing today's podcast episode. And I was thinking about, pulling one of the episodes that we've done and editing. But I'm sitting here overlooking acres of land while the birds chirp outside. And I thought, if this is my charge and my opportunity to put out an episode, I kind of just wanted to do a check-in, a free-flowing conversation. And I guess whatever I end up really kind of getting into, I'll put the episode as that. I haven't been very active in the group, and I guess in many areas of giving in the last few weeks or months. And it's been an interesting process. I recognize that for so many of us, I guess all of us really, we're all trying to find a way to be good enough, a way to be worthy, a way to be seen, all trying to figure out. I feel like my inner child just is screaming, tell me who you want me to be. Tell me what I have to do in order to be loved, in order to be safe, and I'll do it. But in reality, humanity and living this human existence, it just doesn't work like that, I haven't been sharing in the group, and I've had this, guilt over it. Feeling like I need to do more, I need to be there. But there was this part of me that just couldn't do it. I really felt like I just couldn't give one more ounce of myself, And I recognized last week as I had some time, a few hours to myself, which I hadn't had in a while. And I just realized how desperately I needed to feel selfish for a while, because this part to me said, I need to help others. I need to be there for others. I need to share my pain. I need to be there to help others through this horrible pain that we all have. But in reality, I think that always comes from that need to help myself, that need for someone to have helped me. And it just was this bottomless pit, I feel like my whole life I've been giving to others, sacrificing myself, because I feel like the only way that I can be deserving and worthy of love is if I give all of myself to everyone else. It's kind of the only way that I deserve to exist. And it leaves and has left nothing left for me. How can I have energy to live a beautiful, enriching, free, vital life if I have to give all of me to everyone else? What's left over for me? And, I recognize that in the group, it's been such a gift to be able to share my pain and my sadness with everyone else. But there was this part of me that was like, but what about me? I don't feel like I get anything in return. What about me? Who cares about me? Who's helping me? That was my inner child. And I recognized that it's so important for us to figure out what it is that we need, what it is that we want, how to give to ourselves, and not always be giving to everyone else. But in not sharing in the group, this part of me just also felt like she was going to be forgotten about. She wasn't going to exist. No one's going to want her. Because the only reason people want me around is because I can help them. The only reason people want me in their lives is because I can give something to them. And I realized that, in having kids, that's really what brought my trauma to a head, was because I was able to exist like that with everyone else. I was able to give a bit of myself to everyone. But when my kids came along, I was so desperate for their love, so desperate to be accepted by them, to be loved by them, that I spent every single second of the day trying to be everything to them. And in doing that, I left absolutely nothing to me. And in leaving nothing for me, I became so angry and so rageful because nothing I did ever seemed enough. Nothing I gave them, I could give them all of me and it would never, ever be enough. They always wanted more. And my inner child just screamed at them, "What else do you want from me?" I dreaded being around them. I hated them because every time I was around them, all I felt like was worthless, not good enough, because they always wanted more. In reality, it's because my core belief is that I'm never going to be good enough. As I am, without being the fun mom or the conscious mom or the present mom or the caring mom or the cooking mom or whatever that may be, without being all of these things to my kids, then I'm nothing. I can't just be here. I can't just be present and love them from a distance because I didn't feel like I was good enough. I was terrified and still am terrified that they'll abandon me. They'll leave me. They won't stick around. Everyone else left me. Why the fuck wouldn't they leave me? And so a part of me was giving all of me to them. And then a part of me was holding the most important parts that they wanted away, which was my heart. Because if I believe that they're eventually going to abandon me, because everyone abandons me, then I have to protect myself. I have to lock away something for myself in case of emergency. For that day, when they leave me, I will not be burned the way I was before. I will not give all of my heart to another person because I can't risk that death. I can't risk my inevitable collapse when they leave me. That's where the deep pain comes from. That's where the deep wounding comes from. That's where the overgiving, oversharing, overdoing comes from. Because I need them to need me. I need you all to need me. I need everyone to need me so that you all won't leave me. And that makes me sad. It makes me sad that I don't think, and the little girl within me doesn't think, that she would ever be good enough just as she was. And of course she believes that. How would she believe otherwise when she was never good enough as a child as she was? When she was abandoned for who she was. Overly emotional. So alive. I remember just dancing around and singing and being punished for that. I was punished for being alive. And so the only way that I could deal with the pain and the suffering of all of the rejection of all of me was to find a way that I could survive by being everything that everyone else needed from me. I was the master at being who people needed me to be. But then I never knew who I was. At my core, I never knew who I was. And so many of us who've had trauma exist this way. We try to find a way to be good enough, to be seen, to be lovable, to be worthy, so that people won't abandon us, so that people won't leave us. And I recognized it yesterday. We've been here at my sister's beautiful, beautiful house. And it's been just magnificent. We have friends down and it was just so lovely because the kids were playing and everything. And I just felt so free. And I felt so proud of myself for getting to this point. I've been through so much. And our friends left and the kids left, and I was left then with my own boys, you know. And suddenly I felt trapped again. Suddenly I felt all of the pain returning, because in the absence of their little friends, their little mates that they could play with, it was all back to me. And they were just going to see through my worthlessness and my not good enoughness, and they were going to just see how shit I was, and I had to be better. And so by the end of the day, I just realized I was so exhausted, because I spent all of my energy trying to prove to them that I was deserving of being their mom. Every single day I do that. Every single day I'm fighting to be worthy. But they don't need me to be anything. They don't need me to abandon all of my own self and my own needs to be worthy of their love. They love me no matter what. What they do need is for me to let them in. For me to fully let them into my heart. For me to stop holding a part of me locked away, so afraid that they'll leave me, so afraid that they'll abandon me, and preparing for that. They feel the absence of me, you know, and that's what so many of us do to our kids, with our partners. We'll give them so much, but the parts that they want the most important parts, or hearts, or vulnerability, or openness, or connectedness, we won't give them all of that. Because in order to do that, we have to be prepared to lose it. And when we have trauma, when you have trauma, when you have gotten so accustomed to being trampled on and rejected and your heart being stomped on, it's no surprise that we want to feel safe, to feel protected. And so last night, as I, was here with the boys, I just kept on breathing into that space, that little child within me, that sad, that part of me that is just so afraid of being abandoned, so afraid of not being good enough, worthy enough of their love. And also trying to mend that pain and that fear of the inevitable abandonment. Helping her see that even if our kids did leave us, she's not alone anymore. The little girl within me who was abandoned so long ago, so often, rejected, she's not alone anymore, because I'm here. The adult self, the adult version of me who's healed so much trauma, I'm here. And I think that it's been such a gift. I followed my inner guidance system that said not to share, not to be on the group, not to do so much work, just so I could have that time to figure out who I was when I wasn't giving to everyone else. Who I was when I wasn't being there for everyone else. Who am I just as I am, without anything? I am still worthy enough. I am still good enough. I am still lovable enough. And so sometimes the universe plans it and makes it happen so that it takes everything away from us that we're leaning on as a crutch. So that we can get to a point where we realize that we don't need those crutches, and that actually they're just inhibiting us from running and being free and happy. But first we have to get over the fear of letting the crutches down. This was and has been a journey of walking back to myself, of rediscovering my own self and realizing that I am worthy and deserving of more. I am deserving of help. I'm deserving of receiving, because a lot of the times when we are people who feel like we have to give, or we have to help or please in order to be loved, we are afraid to receive. Because it doesn't work that way. I'm good enough if I give, but if I receive, then I'm not giving more to you. If you're giving back to me, then that doesn't feel comfortable. I need you to need me. But that's not how healthy relationships work. Healthy relationships, friendships, they all work when both parties, it's a give and take relationship, a give and take experience. But a lot of the time when we have trauma, we're okay to give, but we are terrified of allowing ourselves to open up to receive, because especially as children, receiving never ended up in anything good. Receiving shame, receiving rejection. Very, very rarely did we receive unconditional love. And so we have to get comfortable with opening ourselves up to not only giving, but also receiving. And so, yeah, it's not really, I guess, a very detailed, planned podcast, but I guess it was really important for me to share a bit of an update on, what's going on for me and, yeah, what my experience has been of late. And yeah, it has been really healing, and it'll continue to be healing because that's the path and that's the journey. But if you resonate with any of this, I would just, I guess, ask you to look at your life and just start to observe. Who do you need to be in order to be worthy of love? Who do you need to be in order to be good enough? What do you need to do in order to be worthy of existing? To be smart, to be funny, to be giving, to be sacrificial. And so often, a lot of us have this rooted in abandonment, the fear of being abandoned. And so I'd also recommend you look at that. Get comfortable with the reality of abandonment. Write about times in your childhood when you may have felt abandoned. Be there and create that relationship with the little child within you who was abandoned and help them heal. Healing the wound of abandonment isn't done overnight. It takes time. But when you do heal it, it opens up so much space for you to truly move forward and exist within a full and vibrant life. Not one where you're tied to a noose, tied to whatever crutch or whoever you need to be in order not to lose everyone around you. Even if everyone left now, you'd still be okay. You'd get through it because you're not a little child anymore. You're not alone. You're not helpless. You're not powerless. You would survive. So that's my little check-in for today, and sending you all so much love.
Thanks so much for tuning in today, guys. If you haven't done so already, please join our Facebook group, Let Me Be Free, The Wounded Inner Child, and post either anonymously or not what's going on for you in your world. We'd also be delighted if you would share this podcast or the Facebook group with one person who you think would benefit from the information. Be alone, Mahaguf. Have a beautiful day.